So there are still good and true things in this world, and the love between Alex and Judi is one of them. So welcome to this celebration, this union and marriage between Alex Stewart and Judi Wellendorf. Judi grew up with me in her life as her youth leader in church, and we've shared many of life's ups and downs and lots of summer mission trips. I love her, and I am so proud of the woman she has become. Now I'm going to cry. And I don't know you as well, but from our brief conversations, I can see that you're a man of your word. And I know that together, you two have created a wonderful vision for your future to grow old together in this place, in this beautiful place. So when Alex and Judi met, Judi thought Alex would be a great date for a friend, not herself. When she called Alex, he remembered her because he thought the name Judi was unusual for a young woman. Judi with an I was named for her grandma Judi with a Y, and I noticed Grandma Judi's picture up in the tent. Their courtship was slow and developed without the expectation that their relationship would develop into something so deep and important to each of them. They have learned to love each other as individuals without condition. Life will surely throw them some curveballs, and there are sure to be times when loving without condition is going to be challenging. But you stand before us today to accept the challenge and to make your union permanent. I share this reading, and he has a French name, so I'm going to butcher it, but it's Louis de Bonheur. Not to make your life together sound ordinary and boring, but as an idea of love being so much more than the thrill of courtship. It is mutual in its interest and respect for a life built together. It's as beautiful as we make it. Being in love with each other is something to nurture, and it may peak and decline, but sustaining each other through the peaks and valleys is the ultimate in love. So Louis de Bonheur says, love is a temporary madness. It erupts like volcanoes and then subsides. And when it subsides, you have to make a decision. You have to work out whether your roots are so entwined together that it is inconceivable that you should ever part, because that is what love is. Love is not breathless. It is not excitement. It is not the promulgation of promises of eternal passion. That is just being in love, which any fool can do. Love itself is what's left over when being in love is burned away, and this is both an art and a fortunate accident. Those that truly love have roots that grow towards each other underground, and when the pretty blossoms have all faded from their branches, they find that they are one tree, not two. Alex and Judi have their thoughts to share with each other before we make the vows and exchange the rings. And Alex will go first.
I have pockets.
I did not bridge mine.
Judi, it's a little louder. I've lived my whole life never being 100% sure of anything, always going with my gut and hoping it turns out. That's not the case today. I stand before you 100% ready to love you, commit to you, and be one with you for the rest of my life. What we have is truly incredible. Two imperfect people have found a perfect balance together. My love for you is truly unconditional. No matter what we may face ahead, I know we can always do it together. I love you.
Now, he was a lot more prepared than I am. During the last couple days, it's been quite crazy, chaotic, having a lot of people here. But I am so deeply in love with you. We have been together for just over 5 years, and I don't think I've ever met someone so kind, so caring, and so deeply in love with me as this man. I've had a lot of crazy role models in my life and a lot of grandparents whose love has inspired me to love you like they loved their people. My grandma Judi was one of them, and my grandma Sandy was the other. both my grandpas, help them through their sicknesses and in their health. And I know deep in my heart that you would do the same for me. I don't know what I would do without you. My love for you is unconditional. And with all the hardships that we've already had, losing our little baby. By that, I mean our fur baby, I'm sorry. Our little Leica passed away last year about this time. And going through that and moving to South Carolina after only being together for about 8 months, we were crazy. You dropped everything, you gave up your life, and you moved with me. We are back here to be closer to our friends and our family who've come very far for us. And I am so deeply thankful for all of you and encouraging us to love each other and to build our new life and our family on these sacred grounds where our little baby's also buried. I love you so much. You are amazing. Thank you.
Who has the rings? So as they exchange rings and take their vows, I'll share with you that inside Alex's ring is engraved in Latin, Sic Parvis Magna, greatness from small beginnings. Don't put it on yet. So this comes from a video game that they played together called Uncharted, and this was early in their courtship, and they found similarities between themselves and the characters and developed this motto, this greatness from small beginnings. As they live in their tiny house, their greatness will just continue to grow. So these rings are unending circles, so may your love also be an unending circle. So you'll go first, Alex. No. We're not in a hurry. It's not raining. Repeat after me.
I, Alex,
Take you, Judi,
take you, Judi,
to be my wedded wife,
to be my wedded wife,
to have and to hold,
to have and to hold
from this day forward,
from this day forward,
for better or for worse,
for better or for worse,
for richer or for
for richer or
poor,
for very poor,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and to cherish,
to love and to cherish,
till death do us part.
till death do us part.
This is my solemn vow.
This is my solemn vow.
Place the ring on her finger. You, Judi. I'll hold this.
Okay.
I, Judi, take you,
I-
Alex,
I, Judi, take you, Alex,
to be my wedded husband,
to be my wedded husband,
to have and to hold,
to have and to hold
from this day forward,
from this day forward,
for better or for worse,
for better or for worse,
for richer or for very poor,
for richer or for very poor,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and to cherish,
to love and to cherish,
till death do us part.
to death do us part.
This is my solemn vow.
This is my solemn vow.
Hold hands. Will you join me in prayer? Good and gracious God, we pray that you will bless Alex and Judi as they begin their life together. In all experiences of life, may they always stay close to you and each other as they share the joys and blessings, as well as the trials and heartaches. Help them to honor and keep the promises made here today. Remind them daily of your great love for them so they may reach out in love to others. Give them such love and devotion that each may be to the other a strength in need, a comfort in sorrow, a counselor in difficulty, and a companion in joy. Amen. Alex and Judi, now that you have shared with each other these words of love and commitment, and we have witnessed the expression of your love as you have given each other these rings, and you have joined your hands and hearts before your family and friends, it is with great joy that I pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride. And family and friends, it is my pleasure to introduce to you for the very first time Mr. and Mrs. Stewart.
So I'd like to do a toast. Judy's back there with the drink. There goes Alex. All right. So we're saving the best dad for last. That's Dan. If you don't know me, I'm Alex's dad. And hey, Alex. So I consciously did not plan what I was going to say, so this might be a stream of consciousness thing and may not make sense, but I wanted it to be straight from my heart, not thinking of anything. And actually, this rain here tonight, oh my gosh, this reminds me of like 24 Boy Scout campouts we've been on over the years. So this is great. This is an adventure. This is one of those weddings. You know, you've been to weddings and you're like a few years later, you don't remember them. You're going to remember this one. I mean, there's a table over there and about 4 inches of water. It's great. It's an adventure, which life is an adventure. And, I've known ever since I was young, like a teenager, I wanted to be a dad. And then I got to be a father to Alex and Katie, and it surpassed all my expectations. One of the things I love about being a dad is that when they were young, I didn't realize this. I thought I knew what being a dad would be like before I ever had kids. And you know what? It's not quite like what you think it's going to be, but in many, many ways, it was better than I ever imagined. And one of the coolest things I found out about being a father to Alex was I got to relive my childhood again. This kid, he had a sense of adventure. He always liked risk. And if he said he wanted to jump over something or climb something, I'm like, oh, yeah, let's do it. And I got to relive my childhood with Alex, going on campouts and doing things. And, my mom told me when I was younger, she said, David, kids' personality is really, you can see it at about 2 or 3 years old. And it changes over the years. It shows itself differently, but really who they are, you can see it. And so when Alex was about 3, here's a little bit about Alex. When he was about 3, I remember the kitchen floor was wet. And I told Alex, do not go onto the kitchen floor. So he stood on the edge of the kitchen and put his toes over the edge into the kitchen. And I'm like, Alex, I told you not to get in the kitchen. He's like, I'm not in the kitchen, just my toes. So that is still Alex today. And now he's Judy's. But because all I know is Alex was always pushing the edge of everything. He had a sense of adventure, always. And we'd go to Backbone and walk around the lake, and he'd jump on this 70-foot cliff, and he would give me a heart attack. And I just loved being with you growing up, being your father, seeing you grow. And another thing I didn't know was I always figured that when Alex turned 18, I was done and I wasn't really going to be a dad anymore, and I'd just send him off, and then maybe a couple times a year he'd come back and visit or something like that. I don't know. That's what I thought. But what I found is being a father to Alex as a grown-up is almost even more fun than being father to Alex when he was a kid. Because now he met Judi, and he and Judi invite Carrie and I into their lives. And, okay, just another thing about me, I get emotional and I'm going to cry. All right, I'm just laying that out here right now. Don't worry about it. I do it all the time. And Alex now is a man, and I've seen him do things. When he was young, I was his dad, and I showed him things. And what's cool is he's showing me things now. I'm so proud of him. Coming out here and living off the grid for all these months, doing what he's done, because Carrie and I came out and looked at this property when there was like 50 goats on it. And they were following us around, and that barn was filled with manure. And to see it now is just amazing. And I'm so proud of both of you. And Judi coming here with Alex and willing to do this, that's love. And you guys invite us into your lives, and just like things like when you talked about Leica passing away. I love Leica. And Alex invited me to come out and bury her with him. And that meant so much to me. And it was the two of us. We dug a 4 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot hole. And it meant so much to me that he wanted me there with him when he buried her. And Alex told me, he's like, Dad, you did a good job when I was growing up. But, there's a couple places where you fell short. You didn't teach me what a Roth IRA was. And I'm like, well, I didn't know I was supposed to. But I thought, if that's the worst, that's not bad. And also, Alex said, I really wish we would have had the chance to work on cars together, because I decided I don't like working on cars. I did that when I was young. I'm done with it. But then when I went down to South Carolina, and I was with Alex. We were testing his truck with the trailer on it the day before we were coming back, and his front tire was blowing out a lot of heat, and the wheel bearings were going out on it. And so within 24 hours, we had to be on the interstate to drive from South Carolina to Iowa, but we changed his wheel hub together. And I'm looking on YouTube, and Alex is doing this, and it was wonderful, and I just love it. And so, guys, I just want to say thank you for always being so kind and gracious and inviting Carrie and I into your lives. And we are so excited for you guys. We know the best is yet to come. This is just the start. And I think your thing said a word of advice for the married couple. Here's what, I've lived long enough. This is pretty simple. Anybody in here who's been married or is married knows this world is going to try to tear you two apart. It's going to try to make you guys go in opposite directions and make your focus away from each other. And it will do that a lot. And I have learned you guys are one. You guys are one. You are not two separate people now married and on different journeys and supposed to support each other. You are one. And you, Alex, cherish Judi. Have her back. Let her know she is loved by you and cherished by you every day. And Judi, please respect Alex. Respect him as your husband and show him love and respect him. And you guys try to outdo each other on giving to each other and loving one another. And if you do that, oh heck, you're going to last the ages. And you won't just, oh heck, you're going to last the ages. You won't just, survive. You will thrive in your marriage for the rest of your lives. And Judi, we love you. We feel like you've been a daughter to us for a while already. And we're just so excited to share whatever God brings into the future for all of us. We're excited for it. So to Alex and Judi, I'm sorry I rambled on too long. We love them, and we wish them the best.
For everybody that knows me a little bit, my older brother Dennis, he's the speech writer. He does a wonderful job. Myself, I kind of a little more short and sweet. But as I embraced my daughter, as I was handing her to her husband-to-be, I made this little comment to her about, I actually remember carrying you in that little car seat. And I was having to upgrade from the old Pontiac Sunbird because the car seat wouldn't fit in the back seat. It had to be in the front. And with her older brother being in a car seat, I had to upsize the vehicle. So that was kind of the start of everything. I got to bring my daughter to the young man that I now call my son, or I have called my son for a while. And I could not imagine a better fit for both of them. As Alex kind of alluded to when he gave his vows, there's a certain piece to every puzzle, and these two really, truly, honestly belong together. I couldn't wish anything better. Well, other than something different for weather today, but it is what it is. The memories, it's this moment that each of you are experiencing with us and with them that makes this really something special. So I propose the toast to my beautiful daughter and my son, the happiest life that can be. And we do this in front of everybody that's here because every one of you have created a part of that moment. And there's nothing that we can do to replace this moment. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for showing your love for this union and celebrating this marriage. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie. I am the prettiest, funniest, sorry, I meant youngest sister. And for those of you who don't know Judi as well as I do, or some of our closer family, and like we do, you probably wouldn't directly know that she's an extremely go-with-the-flow type of person. My sister Danielle and I had approached Judi and originally asked her if she wanted anyone to give a speech on the day of her wedding. And in simple Judi fashion, she said, "Oh no, you guys don't need to worry about it, just enjoy yourselves." So, Judi has a tendency to hyper-focus on everyone else's wants and needs and would never directly ask anyone for anything due to her selflessness. I know that if I'm ever in a pinch or I need anything, Judi will be there at the drop of a hat. However, since Judi has fallen in love with Alex, I can tell she is her most comfortable self when she's asking him to drive 2 hours back to Ames the day of my sister-in-law's wedding because she forgot her bridesmaid's dress. Alex was almost all the way to Omaha, by the way, and he turned around. It makes me happy to know that Judi has someone in her life who helps her be decisive and also takes care of her for a change. Alex, my least favorite thing about you is that we share the same birthday, and unfortunately it takes a little bit of my spotlight. With all of that being said, though, I'm extremely thankful that you continue to show up for Judi, whether she drags you nearly 1,000 miles away from home or not. It is a true testament that Judi has found her home in you. I know today hasn't exactly panned out according to plan due to the rain, but they say that rain on a wedding day signifies a long-lasting marriage, and I'm very happy to be here to kickstart that with you and everyone else. I love you both very much. Thank you. Okay.
Now that the perfect speech giver over there caught me off guard and decided to have a speech. We want to thank you, honestly, from the very, very bottom of our hearts, coming out here today on a downpour, standing in 4 inches of water, these beautiful cedar shavings on the ground, or pine straw, whatever they are. Pine shavings, yes, okay. They were not planned, but they kind of absorb some of the water, so they're down there. They're beautiful. I just would like to say, honestly, each one of you guys mean so much to Alex and I. As you can tell, we decided to not do a bridal party. We decided not to invite as many people because I wanted to truly focus on the people who mean the most to us. This day is all about bringing our families together, and honestly, I couldn't ask for better family and better friends in our lives. Each one of you guys have made such an impact on us, and Alex and I, we're terrible at communicating. Anybody can tell you. We will not text you back for like 3 days or, a month and a half like Jordan. Yeah. She sent me a picture of her dress, and she's like, "Oh, do you like it?" A month later, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that looks great." We are not great at communicating, and we really appreciate your guys' patience and loyalty to us, knowing that we kind of just like being in front of you. Every person that we sit with, every person we talk with, you guys honestly mean the world to us, and we would not have the wedding we do without all of you. And here's Alex if you want to say anything. I speak for both of us, it's fine.
Every single person here, if you are here, whether you're related by blood, by marriage, or through friendship, you are all family. And I just want you to know we love and care about every single one of you. Thank you for being here. We would also like to specifically thank anybody who is here early today, early yesterday, early the day before, was making decorations in their garage a month ago. Specifically the parents, Nicole and Santi, David and Carrie, Dan and Joe, Vicky and John, and all of our siblings have all helped us out tremendously. And every single person who has been here, it's made the difference. This wouldn't have come together if it wasn't for everybody who was here helping, and it wouldn't be a party if everybody else wasn't here either. Thank you all so much for coming. Salud.